you cry no more.
Hey everybody, this is Ashley, founder and owner of Supernaturalaholics Anonymous, and you're listening in to the official Supernaturalaholics Anonymous podcast talk show. So this week I am actually being joined by a brand new co-host who hasn't been on the show before. Most of you know this person as a Gabriel cosplayer, role player on Twitter and such, and also as a Richard Speight Jr. fan geek. So some might say even that this person is a bit of an expert of sorts when it comes to all things Speight, which is pretty cool. So without further ado, I present to you this week's co-host, Dana. How's it going,
Hello,
Dana?
it's going good. Hi, Ashley. Hi, everybody out there in Radio Land, Supernatural fandom.
Which is a big place.
Yeah, huge.
Well, hey, I'm glad to have you here this week, and I think we're going to switch things up a little bit, from the standard mold of how we do the podcast. I want to kind of interview you on some Richard topics and maybe some Gabriel topics. Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
All right, so let's get started. Actually, first, before we get into all of that, how did you get into the fandom?
That's actually kind of interesting because I actually got into it because of my ex. I used to actually watch The Vampire Diaries, and Supernatural came on after that.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also an actor / performer, so I was doing a show at the time, and so I wasn't home on that night. I think it was Thursday, if I remember. I think it was Thursday night. And anyway, when the show got done and I got back home, I was watching Vampire Diaries or whatever, and then I was like, okay, let's change channel. My ex is like, no. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, there's this show called Supernatural. It's really cool. You should check it out. And I was like, well, what is it?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, it's got angels and demons and all kinds of, supernatural, beings. And I thought, okay. So the funny thing is the first episode I ever saw was Abandon All Hope.
Oh, wow.
Not recommended for your first episode.
No.
Especially season 5. I was completely lost because I was like, okay, why is the devil not have a pitchfork? Why is an angel wearing a trench coat? I mean, it just got worse as it went on.
And newbies of the show realize that, you literally have to watch from the pilot episode and
Yes.
forward. Otherwise, you're going to have no clue what's going on.
Yeah, but the thing is even though I came in as late as I did, in the season, when the finale aired, it was so amazing. Swan Song will always be my favorite finale just because it was so well written and everything. And like I said, even though I had only came, halfway through season 5, when the finale aired, I cried at the end. I sobbed because the last part they do with all the, the combination of the past episodes with the brothers, I felt it. I mean, I was like, wow, these brothers, this connection that they have is amazing. And I lost it. I mean, I was like, I have to see this from the beginning. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And I credit that to Eric Kripke because, the finale was amazing. It really was. Even though I wasn't completely 100% sure what was going on. Oh, yeah, I got the gist.
Oh, yeah, dude's a total genius.
Yes, absolutely. So... And I got lucky because not too long after the finale aired, then TNT started airing the episodes, and I was able to go back and, catch up after that. And, of course, I was astounded by just everything of, what they tackled on the show. And, yeah, I got hooked.
Well, geez, I had no idea that, I was under the impression, I don't know why, that you had been part of the fandom since the very beginning. So, I mean, that's cool to know.
Yeah. No, I wish I had been. Like I said, I didn't know it existed, because I used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer back in the day, and oh man, talk about, that was an awesome show.
Mm-hmm.
So Supernatural is right up my alley.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know how I missed out on it when it came out, but yeah, I caught up quick. I think that was the summer I caught up from 1 up to 5, and I was just like, oh my gosh. And then when 6 hit, of course, I was stoked. I'm like, let's do this.
Oh yeah, and it's been a non-stop roller coaster ride ever since.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I came into the fandom before the season 4 premiered, like a few months before I caught up 1 through 3 on my overnight shifts at the resort, and like got hooked, like nonstop watching it. And then I learned what hiatus was all about at the end of season 3. I'm like, what is this? I think I'm gonna die if season 4 doesn't come on. And yeah, I mean, it seriously, it's one of the best fandoms I think you can be a part of. It's amazing.
I mean, because people ask me, sometimes about, the fandoms, and I say, well, X-Files was actually my first official fandom that I ever became a part of. And X-Files at that time, of course, was brand new. I mean, what they did on the television was unheard of. Especially the first season when they tackled a lot of those, topics that they had, those creatures. Some of those made me not want to sleep, and that's what Supernatural was like for me the first season. I was like, wow, I'm not watching this without, with the lights. I want to watch it with the lights on. That's good storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course, as some people know, a lot of the people actually from X-Files did end up in Supernatural, including Kim Manners, rest in peace. And some of the other actors ended up, Mark Shepard, and it's wonderful to see that they made that transition to Supernatural because it was perfect.
Definitely, I agree with you on that.
Yes.
Cool. Well, so now that we know all about that, why don't you, because I know you're a really big Richard Speight Jr. fan, and a lot of the people that know you know that as well. You've met him, correct?
Yes, I did. I'll try and shorten the story as much as I can because it's kind of a long one. To make a long story short, I was friends with somebody online, and I was a Richard fan. Actually, it was from seeing his video of him in Chicago Con when he did. He played his guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I thought, wow, And then of course I saw him on Supernatural, and I was like, this guy's really really cool. I like him. So anyway, she said, okay, well, guess what? I'll get tickets and we'll go to TorontoCon. That was the very first TorontoCon, I might add. So this was like brand new in Toronto, And she's like, oh, I'll get the tickets and we'll do the meet and greet, blah, blah, blah. So make a long story short, I was all excited about it. I get to the airport. She's not there.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I try and call her. Her phone is disconnected. I mean, very strange things going on here. And I got at the airport at like 9 a.m. I waited till like 2. And then finally my ex is like, look, just come home. Just forget about it. It's not going to happen. And I'm like, well, what happened? He's like, I don't know. Well, my friends on Twitter tweeted Richard. And they told him what happened. Our bud was really bummed because she wanted to meet you. So he was like, well, tell her to come to karaoke tonight. It's free. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a 4-hour drive to Toronto from where I live. I've been awake since 9 a.m. I haven't eaten or anything, and then I'd have to drive back because I couldn't stay there because it was too expensive, to stay overnight. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go and I'm going to have fun and just, do it. So I drove 4 hours to Toronto. Yeah, I was exhausted. I did get detained at the border because they thought I was like going to go do a drug deal or something because I was coming back on the same night. Yeah, that was a nightmare. And then finally I had to say, look, I'm going over to a karaoke thing in Toronto. I mean, I told them the truth and then they let me go. I'm like, okay, so I have a friend over in Toronto that doesn't work, but I'm going to a convention karaoke thing does. Okay, anyway, so I get there and met some fans, and let me just say that when you go to a Supernatural con, the fandom is just amazing. I mean, these are total strangers, but they just come up to you and start talking to you and make you feel so comfortable.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Because I was really upset when I got there because of the day I had. And so anyway, I met these 2 girls, and, in the bathroom, and they're like, well, why don't you just hang with us? And I'm like, okay, that's cool, thank you. So I signed up for karaoke, and went inside, and then it came time for them to go get their karaoke photo ops. We'll be right back. I'm like, okay. So I'm standing there, and they were playing Thriller. It's funny how I'll never forget Thriller as long as I live. And they were doing Thriller on stage, and then I turned around, and there's Richard standing right behind me.
Oh, man.
And I just stood there and stared. I mean, it was like a deer in the headlights, and he was like, you made it. And what I didn't know is those 2 girls had tweeted Richard and told him that I was there. So they totally surprised me with him, and he, and I just remember I looked at him, I said, can I give you a hug?
Aww.
And he looked at me like, well, why couldn't you give me a hug? So I gave him a hug, and he's like, don't worry, we'll get you on stage, and, and everything like that. And so anyway, when I got on stage, I was nervous. I had never sang karaoke before, ever. And I'm in front of this whole hall of, complete strangers, and I was terrified. I'm a classical trained vocalist. It's not that I can't sing, it's I can't sing non-classical stuff.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, Richard was so wonderful up there. He made me so comfortable, and my nerves went away and I gave a really good performance. I actually performed disco, believe it or not. And it was just, he really made me feel comfortable, and he loved my voice. He's like, wow, you really got a set of pipes on you, girl. It's like, well, thank you. And I'm blushing, okay? I'm like wanting to crawl under a rock at this point because I, at the time, was very shy. So, anyway, I was up on stage, and he told everybody, hi, everybody, this is Dana, and she drove all the way up here 4 hours just to meet me, and I'm like, oh my God. And he gave me his piece prop necklace that he was wearing. He gave that to me on stage, and I could not believe that this was happening, and it was supposed to be my birthday present to go. So he sang happy birthday to me on stage, and everybody joined in, and I'm just like, oh my God, is this happening? It was just, and then he had me on stage for 3 songs that they did, and I was just absolutely floored. I'm like, can this get any better? He says, well, hold on a second, after they were all done. And he comes back, and he had a no entry sign that they had at the con. He signed it, Matt Cohen signed it, Gabriel Tigerman signed it, Amy, I'm going to say her name wrong, forgive me, is it Gumerick? Is that right? That played our young Mary?
Gumanik or something?
Yeah, she signed it. And who else signed it? There was one other person, I can't remember. I think it was the DJ that signed it. And they didn't just sign it, they all put their little thingies on it. I mean, he had, you drove to see me, you kick ass. Your bud, Richard Spade Jr. He made a little cupcake with a candle in it. I mean, it was just an amazing experience for me. And that was the night that I was like, I don't know, it was just like, it changed me. I'm like, I want to not be the shy person anymore. I want to be like Richard, because he's just an amazing person. Nobody would do that for a stranger. Nobody.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because after that, he knows who Dana is. You say, Dana, and he knows who Dana is. I'm like, you're joking. All these people that he meets, he knows who I am.
Yeah.
It's amazing, and I've gotten lucky a couple of times at karaoke that I've gotten on stage. I haven't the last few times I did it, but, no biggie. But the times that I have, Richard is he's just amazing. He makes you feel so comfortable, and you have so much fun, And, I got into film acting because of him, because I just think he's an amazing actor. He can do anything, not just comedy. He can do drama. I mean, if you could see, some of the drama stuff that he's done, he's just amazing, and he's an inspiration. And I used to talk to him on Facebook. He doesn't go on there anymore, but I used to talk to him on there and tell him he was my inspiration. He was humbled. He was like, wow, I really don't know what to say, But yeah, he's amazing, seriously. So, and that's why, at the cons, I love it when people say, oh man, that Richard, he's so awesome. He made the con so much fun and everything. Like, exactly. That's what he's supposed to do.
And he does it so well, too.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how he does it. He has got the best improv I have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to 2 conventions, and it wouldn't be the same without him doing everything that he does. He just brings that life to it that just wouldn't be the same without him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why, just to say this really quick, Richard does a lot for the cons, as everybody knows. I mean, he's the MC. He doesn't just do autographs and photo ops now. He does everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's a part of the Saturday night show. I mean, he works his tail off, And so a bud of mine, her name is Sarah Volosky, and I decided that we wanted to do something for Richard to show how much we appreciated what he does for the cons. We didn't have a lot of time to do this. We had like a month and 3 weeks to throw this together.
Uh-huh.
Basically, we had a video made. It was of some clips of Richard from the cons, and also the fans holding up signs for him. And we had an original song, which was composed over in Canada, and I'm proud to say that I was a part of that. I sang the song. It was an original song and everything like that. And and we got a book that we also got for him, a scrapbook where people would put letters and photo ops or whatever they wanted to do for Richard. And we gave that as a presentation to him in DC Con last year, and he had tears in his eyes.
And that was, what was that, Project Spate?
Project Spate, yep.
That's really cool.
Oh yeah, we got him good. I mean, we kept trying so hard to keep it a secret because we didn't want him to know. Well, yeah, we got him good. He had no clue. Uh, we got lucky that creation cooperated with us, because I was so worried about that after all the hard work we did, that we weren't going to be able to present it to him, but we did, and yeah, he cried. We were up there, and Sarah and I both saw the tears in his eyes. He was absolutely floored, with the project and everything like that. And it was funny because I was in my Gas Erotica Game cosplay that day because of the costume contest. I'm sure that probably added to the presentation too, because he looked at me and says, "Hey, look, it's me," and then I couldn't say anything because we're doing this presentation, and I saw him like, oh man, the one time I could interact with them and I couldn't because we had the presentation to do. But yeah, that project was amazing, and the fans were just amazing. They went to all that trouble to get all that stuff emailed to us. I mean, it was a lot of hard work. It really was, but it all came together. And Richard, we gave him his own copy of the video. He had it on CD or whatever. But yeah, that was amazing. I'll never forget that.
Well, with all the work he does and the amazing person that he is, he deserves to get that sort of recognition. So
Yes.
it's nice to see that the fandom really is a family, and how we can come together like that and do stuff for not just Richard, but the other people. Like, for example,
yes.
that after the whole thing with Jared that happened recently, and I reached out to the fandom to gather a whole bunch of Jared photo ops and to put it together as, just a music video to show the appreciation for Jared and everything, and show that we support him. And I was just absolutely floored with how many people from the fandom wanted to take part and wanted to support that.
Oh
And
yeah, I got my Jared shirt. I mean, that was amazing. When he had those made, I'm like, I've got to have one because
yeah.
I've been in that dark place, unfortunately, and I understand.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I jumped on getting one of those shirts too, and you got to wear it proud. It's a really good
Yes.
cause. So
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then when Jared went through, the problems that unfortunately he's gone through, the support he got was just amazing. I mean, it wasn't just here; it was international.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it made news everywhere. I was just like, wow. And oh yeah, I wear my shirt with pride, and I've helped others, unfortunately, too, that have been there. And it's like, we're here for you, Jared. Seriously. Uh, you know,
That's
we've all been there.
yeah, that's what I like about the fandom. I mean, yeah, there is a very small percentage that's not as supportive, but for the most part, as a fandom, we do support them, and we do feel the hurt when they're hurt or when they're struggling with something. And
Oh yeah.
that's what family is supposed to be about. And that's what the Supernatural fandom's like.
Right. I was just gonna say that's what to me makes Supernatural stand out among other television shows. Especially with the fandom, is it's about family.
Mm-hmm.
I have met the most wonderful people in my entire life through the Supernatural fandom.
Yep.
Seriously, I mean, these people will always be friends. Always, will never not be. And that's why I tell people too. If they do go to a con, don't be scared. You're gonna make friends. Trust me.
Yep.
And if you're shy, don't worry about it, because guess what? There's a lot of fans that are shy too. But you'd be amazed, like I said, how you will walk away from that con and you'll have 8 or 10 new friends.
And you can go to a con and try to be shy, but it ain't gonna last, because the fandom family will rally around you, and then the next thing you know, it's like you've been with family all along, and there's just no way to be shy at a con.
Right, and I think that's also what bringing up Richard again, what he tries to do. He knows that there's fans that are shy and that are scared,
Mm-hmm.
And he does what he can to lighten up things a little bit, so that they don't feel that way, especially with photo ops and things like that. He's very good for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, moving off topic just a little bit, I like to get everybody's opinions on this. I want to know what your thoughts are on the season 10 finale.
Oh boy, the finale. I just gotta say, the finale for me was special this time, just because I was actually at a viewing party. Oh, it was amazing. Again, you talk about strangers. I only knew a few people here at this party. I knew like maybe 4 people, I think, and we had 30 in this room, and I just can remember the gasps that went up, or the oh crap, expletive actually is what it should be because we said something else that we can't say on the air, and just the atmosphere was just incredible, for the finale. Um, of course you're gonna always have the critics that, well, I didn't like this or whatever, but I thought the finale was very well done. Uh, the scene with Death, and then with Dean and Sam, I was in tears. I was actually hugging and holding on to somebody.
Oh my gosh, me too, yeah.
Yeah, during that scene, I was holding onto somebody and like crying, like, oh, they can't do that. I'm like, he's not gonna kill him. I know he's not, but oh my gosh.
But like at the same time, you're like, you wonder if there's a small chance that they're actually gonna do that to us and have Dean off him, and
Yep.
it got just really tight right then.
Well, plus we know that, again, it goes back to the brothers.
Mhm.
The connection that these brothers have and the love for each other. You can't help but get choked up during that, especially when Sam was, saying some of the things that he was and everything. And I'm just like, oh, he's not going to kill him, is he? But I'm thinking, they've done this to us before. So, when they went to commercial, it was kind of nerve-wracking, I remember, for that particular scene. And of course, when he killed Death, we all went, because then we're like, okay, this can't be good. I mean, first of all, you're not supposed to be able to kill Death, but he did have the scythe, because I remember in season 5, that was, what Crowley told him, didn't he? Wasn't it Crowley that told him about the scythe to kill Death?
I think so.
I think so. So then I thought, oh, okay, that's right. I forgot that he did say that was possible. But it's like, how do you reap Death? So I'm confused on that one. I don't think we've seen the last of Death.
I was just about to ask, do you honestly believe that Death is, well, dead?
No.
Yeah, I'm not sure I buy into that either.
No, I mean, he said he could reap God.
Mm.
I mean...
So how can you so easily take Death out if he can reap God?
Exactly. That's exactly my thing. That's why I was like, yeah, Death is not dead. I doubt it very much. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong,
Yeah, but it was just a little too easy.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it was like he stabbed him and then it was just like, he turned to ash. And I'm like...
And you're like, that's it?
That's it? Yeah, I admit, I was like, okay, that was really, that was really odd. Now, as far as the darkness goes, wow. I mean, whoever came up with that idea it's brilliant. Because we always think that, from a perspective, we always think, oh, everything started with God. So when they took that out and they were like, no, before God and the archangels, there was darkness. I'm like, oh my gosh, that makes perfect sense. That they did that. And of course, my hope is now that they have the darkness, because what's the only thing that can defeat the darkness? God and his archangels.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping they're going to bring, that back into the plot again. I mean, poor Adam. Where the hell is he?
He's stuck in the cage.
We need to get him back out, or at least find out what the heck happened to him. And I would love to have, Michael and Mark Pellegrino, as most people know, he already said at a con in Australia that Lucifer was coming back for season 11. So if they're bringing Lucifer, let's only hope that they get Michael and the whole gang, Gabriel. And of course God, which Rob Benedict. I mean, come on, man,
Mm-hmm.
bring back Chuck. So that's my hope. And I gotta admit, I loved the way that they ended the finale with Sam and Dean. Just Sam and Dean, nothing else, just Sam and Dean in the Impala. What a way, to have them end the finale like that. Even though it was like, what? That's it?
It was a killer. It was a killer cliffhanger, though. I mean, with the darkness taking over them, and then bam, black screen, and we're done. And it's like, what the heck?
When the darkness came out of the ground, I was freaking out. I was like, wow, what in the heck is this? I mean, it was just, and like I said, but the ending with, when they faded to black, I was like, oh, you had to do that to us. You had to.
Yeah, of course they did.
Yeah. But yeah, Yeah, I don't think Death is dead, but like I said, he could be, but like you said, it was too easy. It was
Mm-hmm.
way too easy. I expected, like, more than just ash. It was like, an explosion, or, something happening to the universe, or, I mean, it was just so,
Yeah,
but,
it's
oh.
I just can't see how it could be that easy, and I think it would be a mistake in some ways to just leave it at that
Yeah.
and make killing death or getting rid of death or whatever being that easy.
Yeah, well, like I said too, if he can reap God, I mean, he can't be able to just be killed that quick.
Yeah.
That just didn't make sense to me. But it was still awesome. I mean, how that when he turned and killed Death instead of Sam, we were all like, I
Um.
mean,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, that's okay. And of course, I love Rowena. Oh my gosh, there's some people that are just like, I'm like, no, I love her. Oh my gosh, she's. I mean, her and Crowley, they just crack me up.
They have such a dynamic.
Yes, yes, and that's sometimes you don't have that with characters on a show. They just don't work well together, and
Mm-hmm.
that's when you have problems. But on Supernatural, I gotta say their casting that they have done is so good. I can't say any character if they had to work together that they didn't. They do it. I don't know how the casting directors do it, man. Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing.
You mean you don't want to slap the Rowena off of Rowena's face like I do?
No, no, I don't. I don't know what it is about Rowena, but I know that she's a witch, and I know that she's, like, not a nice, person, but to me, she's, like, so cuddly. I don't know.
That's actually a very unique way of putting it. I don't think I've heard that yet.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's also because I met her, and maybe that is it too, but I don't know. I've liked the character since she was introduced because, because people have been, complaining about the lack of female characters on the show. Which, okay, I agree that yes, there is a lack, but you have to admit that the ones that they do have on the show are very strong
Oh,
characters.
I agree.
Yes. So, yeah, they're limited, unfortunately, but boy, when they're on there, they are strong. I mean, Joe and Ellen, which, unfortunately, died or whatever, but amazing characters, very strong characters. Jodie, I mean, she got very popular. Kim Rhodes, I mean, oh, what an amazing woman.
Oh,
If you get to see her at a
she's
con, oh
so
my gosh.
cool. I met her at NashCon in 2012. She's amazing.
Oh my gosh, at DC Con, she was like the highlight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you don't like to hear explicit language, don't go to her though, because she will tell you how it is.
That is so true, I mean, because you look at how she plays Jodie Mills on the show, and then you get with her in person, and it's such a complete difference. You wouldn't expect
Yes,
the stuff that comes out of her mouth.
yes, she's amazing. But see, I like her because of that. I like the ones that don't hold back, and they
Yeah.
do tell you how it is.
You know, the
You know,
ones that keep it real.
yes, keep it real, exactly. And as I said, if you don't like to hear explicit language, well, I guess that's your thing. But I'm sorry, I love it. I mean, she had me in tears at DC Con with her going on about things. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh my god, she's awesome.
And have you read some of her blogs online?
I read a few here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Not like completely per se, but I read her tweets a lot,
Yeah.
and I just love it when she rants.
And she does go off on some rants.
Yes, she does. Well, just like I used to love Jared with his rants. I mean, people would get like, "Oh, I can't believe it." I'm like, no, he's hilarious, especially about the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I live for rants. When Richard does rants, he does those once in a while, and it just. The thing I love about Richard, though, is he can insult you, but he does it in a way that it's nice, and you don't realize that he's doing it unless you kind of read between the lines, because I've seen him do it before, and it just makes me laugh. It's like, oh, sweetheart, he just insulted you. And not everybody can do that, so that's another reason I admire Richard, because yes, he has a way of insulting others without them realizing it.
Yeah.
And so it made me laugh when this one chick said something. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he said something that was definitely not being nice, but it was in a nice way, and she was just like, oh, thank you. I'm like, he just insulted you. I mean, it just, I don't know, it just makes me laugh when, he does that. And like I said, not everybody can do that. But yeah, Jared with United Airlines, no, was it United or was it American Airlines? One of those he was always going on about.
Yeah, I do remember catching those tweets.
Yeah, and what made me laugh is that Richard got on one of them, and he was like, "Man, Jared, will you stop complaining?" Well, then he got screwed on a flight because of the Cowboys, and it was the same flight and everything. The American or United or whatever, and yeah, he got screwed because of the Cowboys or something like that. That they needed the seats or something, and he was like, "Okay, I'm not laughing anymore."
Wow. Yeah, that's great.
I forget when that was, but that was hilarious. I'm like, whoa, they're talking about karma there. Look out.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I have a general idea of what you think could possibly be brought to the table for season 11, which God, the archangels, which would make
Yeah.
the most sense. How to take care of the darkness. What else could you possibly see happening for season 11?
Boy, oh boy. Well, we've also got Crowley and Castiel there at the end, which I was trying to figure. I'm still trying to figure out. Did she just put a spell on Castiel, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to figure that out because I was like, okay, because I just rewatched it like a few days ago, and I was like, okay, because I remember when I first saw it, I was really confused. I'm like, okay, did the mark pass on to Cass or something? I mean, I was just, really confused. But then I watched it again, and it looked like she just did a spell on him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, so what did she do to him, man? Well, then somebody said that there was a spell that she did the first time I believe her character was introduced. There was some young girl or something like that, and she did a spell on her because someone said that the bloody eyes and all that was from a spell that she did, earlier in the season, which I can't remember. I apologize. So maybe that's what it was. But I'm like, Crowley could fight him off, right? I mean, come on. Crowley's not just some little, pitiful crossroads demon anymore.
Yeah,
He's got some juice.
but didn't she have Crowley paralyzed in place?
Oh, crap. I forgot about that. Whoops. That could be a problem. But then, I mean, she did say, there's things about me that you thought I was just a plain witch and I have more powers than that or whatever. So yeah, okay, yeah, I guess I forgot about that part. So yeah, I don't want to see Crowley die. I'm just gonna put that out right now.
Me
like
either.
I was actually worried there for a while that they were gonna kill him. I mean, it struck my mind a couple of times, and luckily that they didn't. Now, the scene with Sam, the one that was before the finale, holy mackerel, when he turned around with those red eyes and he threw him against the wow.
I was actually thoroughly creeped out of Crowley during that scene.
I think everybody was. Well, I mean, it's kind of sad, but it was like Crowley, he'd gotten weak through the season. That was the only thing I didn't like is I felt like Crowley was weakened a lot, and that really bugged me. I'm like, come on, man, this is Crowley, and he's acting like a wuss. I mean, this isn't right. So then when that scene happened, I was like, aha, there we go. That's the Crowley that we remember right there.
Yep.
So yeah, when he had the red eyes and he says, I want to thank you for reminding me of who I really am. I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, I am a fan of Crowley. Yes, he is evil. Yes, he does not so nice things and everything to the boys. But,
and you hate to love him.
Yes. I mean, for me, if it was not for Crowley, season 6 for me personally would not have been good. Crowley saved it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Crowley is just, I mean, I see Crowley as basically, Gabriel with a little added sarcasm, and he's on the other side per se. He's not the angel; he's on the demon side or whatever. That's how I see Crowley, and that's why I love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they had to do the thing where they had to, he was becoming human and everything like that. But it just killed me to see him that way. And then when we got that scene, I'm like, oh yeah, now we can do this finale.
Now Crowley has regrown a set of balls, and he's back in the game.
Yes, he became something that I can't say on the air, but yes, I was very glad to see that. But kudos to Mark Sheppard for being able to change the character that way as the script was written, but that must have been really hard for him too, to be like, oh, I got to downplay him like this when I really want to play him like this, but they do what the script tells him to do, and he does a marvelous job.
Oh well, he's a phenomenal actor, and just the quick transition in that one scene with him and Sam, being down on the
Yes.
ground and you don't know what's happening, but then all of a sudden he like a flip of a light coming on, all of a sudden he's this
Yes.
evil dark creature, and I mean that takes a lot of talent to be able to transition that quickly.
Exactly, and same thing with well, Jensen too. How he goes from regular Dean to Kane Dean. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Or even Jared. I mean, Jared has had to play how many different characters? I don't know how he does it. I do not understand how he's able to just do it like that, just go into character like that.
Mm-hmm.
They are just amazing actors, and we are so lucky to have such talented actors on our show.
Very much.
Seriously.
Very much.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's discuss the character of Gabriel for a little bit.
Okay.
I know because you're such a Spate fan and a Gabriel fan that I know you have a lot to say about that. So for starters, why don't you give me your take on Gabriel and his family, that sort of thing.
Okay, I'll just do a disclaimer before I say that. Before I do that, and say that the views and expressions here are by Dana Hunt and do not necessarily reflect those of Supernatural writers Eric Kripke, Richard Spate Jr., and Warner Brothers Television. There.
Good disclaimer.
Yeah, I thought that was because then somebody can't come back and yeah. See, some people when they see Gabriel, they just basically see the trickster. Which, it's all good and all that, that you see that, but there's so much more to Gabriel than the trickster. And especially if you watch the end of Changing Channels and Hammer of the Gods, clearly the character is developed a lot more past the trickster.
Yeah.
And he still has trickster qualities. I'm not saying that he doesn't, but he just has more, that's where the family comes in. Was at like the end of Changing Channels especially. You really got to see that, yeah, Gabriel has problems and issues with his family, but he still loves his family. And again, with Supernatural, it all comes down to family, and that's what I love is that the connection of family just runs through a lot of the show. And the way that I have portrayed Gabriel as far as like role playing wise or writing fan fiction is that he and Michael didn't get along. Michael kind of like bullied him per se, because he was the little brother and the bothersome brother, and he was just like the little messenger. Michael was like the warrior and all that kind of thing. So anyway, that's why Gabriel got so close with Lucifer, because Lucifer basically took him under his wing, pardon the pun there, and taught him things and stuck up for him and things like that. So with me, Gabriel and Lucifer are very close in heaven, as brothers. And I, because somebody asked me, as a matter of fact, because they asked, well, why is it in Hammer of the Gods that Gabriel stood up to Lucifer the way that he did, and he didn't, blink an eye? And I'm like, well, that's actually a pretty good question, And the way I see it is, they were close in heaven, and then I think when Lucifer was, in hell and things were told about him, I see Gabriel as being like, that can't be my brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the one that I knew in heaven. He wouldn't be evil, and he wouldn't be, manipulative. No. So when he actually sees him in that scene, I see Gabriel as looking at him like, wow, this is not my brother. This is not the one that held me when I was a fledgling. This is not the one that looked after me or whatever. And I think you can even see that in his expression and in Richard's face, even when he's facing Lucifer. Was Gabriel scared? Yeah, he was scared. But in that situation, you can't show fear. I mean, he knows pretty much that Lucifer could take him out. He knows that. But, and again, here we go back with, with my take. Dean is actually the one, I believe, at the end of changing channels that made Gabriel realize that what he was doing was wrong. And I see him as doing like a soul-searching type of thing between that and Hammer of the Gods, because he's changed so much by Hammer of the Gods. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something had to happen between changing channels and Hammer of the Gods. So even though he would never, like, admit it, I think Dean Winchester is the one that woke him up and made him realize, you know, you being the trickster in that this is wrong, and you need to take a stand for the first time in your life, because up to Hammer of the Gods, Gabriel's never done that. He left heaven. He was afraid. You know, he didn't want to deal with his brothers fighting and everything like that. So when you get to Hammer of the Gods and he's standing up to Lucifer, who could just lay him out, you know, that takes a lot for him. But I give Dean Winchester the credit on that, because even in Hammer of the Gods, when they're in the Impala and talking, and he's like, you know, why don't you stand up to Lucifer? And he says, you can't or you won't. And then he goes quiet, and he knows what the answer is.
Yeah.
You know, but, and then the way I look at it too is when Gabriel left heaven and he went to, join the pagans, he obviously couldn't tell them what he was. You know, if they would have deep fried him extra crispy, you know, they didn't like angels. You know, so I see too with the pagans, that Gabriel kind of like established himself more, because in heaven he was just like the messenger. He was really, you know, to him it wasn't an important role. When he became Loki, you know, now all of a sudden it's like, oh wow, man, I've got these worshipers, and you know what I mean? It kind of gave him an ego, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that, you know, the pagans helped him with that. So in Hammer of the Gods, when Lucifer is basically slaughtering the pagans, that's not cool with Gabriel. That's his adopted family. You know, and so I think that's another reason why he took a stand, because he was like, I can't just have my family slaughtered like this, even though, of course, by the time that he got there, except for Kali, you know, they were already dead or whatever. You know, but yeah, with Lucifer, and again, it's tricky because I say with Lucifer, he did not want to actually kill him. Now this, you're going to laugh, but this is because of the height difference between Lucifer and Gabriel, which, you know, nothing against Richard, but when you're standing next to Mark Pellegrino, which I know from a fact because I did it myself, he's very tall. But when if you watch that scene with Hammer of the Gods, and when he's coming up to Lucifer with the angel blade, it almost looks like he was going to get him in like the shoulder, but not the chest area. Mm-hmm. So I think that Gabriel didn't actually want to kill Lucifer. He wanted to stun him and maybe like, put him in a ring of fire or something like that, so that, you know, they could control him. But I don't see Gabriel as actually wanting to kill Lucifer. Again, this is just my opinion. Others might, argue that. Because also with the trickster, I see the trickster as being mirrored by Gabriel's anger for Lucifer being tossed into hell because of the humans.
Yeah.
That's why he killed the humans. Because he was angry. He was like, oh my, you are why my brother that raised me and I love dearly is in hell. Well, guess what? I'm going to have some fun with you. You know, so that's why he, would kill the humans. And of course his argument was, well, they had it coming. Which I agree some of them did. I'm not saying that. But I just see that that's why he took on that role of killing the humans.
I like that theory. That's actually a very interesting theory. And
Thank you.
Now that listening to you explain it like that, for Hammer of the Gods, I can kind of see why you would think that and want to theorize it that way, as far as, Gabriel not wanting to kill Lucifer. I think it would be more along the lines of he wants to stop him and maybe even have that, opportunity to try to reason with him.
Yes.
But,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, that's how I see it. I mean, and I'm sorry, but that scene between Lucifer and Gabriel is just absolutely amazing. Amazing acting. Mm-hmm. It's so short, but oh my gosh, you get so much out of that scene. That was, for me, when I started to see the Lucifer and Gabriel relationship. And that's, and that's why I, have used that in my background as far as with Gabriel. Now, there have been theories about what happened to Gabriel after that. Now, here we go again with my theory. Angels can't, well, he was pretty much banned out of heaven because he rebelled and, pretty much joined the dark side, aka the pagans. So I don't see them letting him basically into heaven. He can't go to hell because he doesn't have a soul. So where's the only place that an angel could go like him? Purgatory.
Mm.
So my theory was that Gabriel went to purgatory, and here we go again. This is just my background that I came up with. As Azrael is the archangel of death. Yes, there are other archangels out there. And what I said was that him and Azrael were tight in heaven, good buds. So when he found out that Gabriel was in purgatory, he basically said, all right, it was a little, I think it was a year, wasn't it? Yeah, about a year. He's like, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll play a game of poker. You win, you get a free ticket out of here. I win, you're stuck here. So Gabriel's like, okay. So to make a long story short, Gabriel won, and that's how he got out of purgatory.
That is interesting.
I don't know where it came up with the idea, but because at the time when I was role playing the character, I'm like, well, you got to have a reason as to why they're topside again. You can't just say, oh yeah, he's just here. You got to have some kind of reason. So I jokingly said, yeah, poker, why not? So of course the question comes: did Gabriel actually win, or did Azrael let him win? Which I never have said the answer to.
In theory, do you believe that, because I mean, going back to Tall Tales, how you think that Sam and Dean killed the trickster, but it shows clearly that they did not, that he just basically mirrored himself to prevent them from killing him. Do you think it's possible, another theory, that that's what could have happened with Lucifer and Hammer of the Gods, where it looks like it, and he could have made it seem like where Lucifer really did kill him, or...
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying that it's not, but he did kill Gabriel with an archangel blade. A little bit different than a wooden stake.
Yeah.
And with the archangels, I mean, that's the final say. If you get it with the blade,
Yeah.
That's it. And to my knowledge, that's the only way that you can kill an archangel, I believe, completely, is with the blade. You can trap them in the holy fire or whatever, but yeah, as far as death goes. So I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. I'm not saying that it isn't. But Lucifer's no dummy. We got to remember that too.
That is very true.
Oh yeah, Lucifer's not stupid. So I also get the feeling that he probably would have known that, if he had actually done that or not. Then of course the question becomes, would Lucifer have actually gone out to seek out Gabriel if he knew that was true, or would he have just let his little brother go?
That is actually a very good point to bring up. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, Lucifer's not dumb. Hardly.
But also, you makes wonder: do you think Lucifer wanted to kill Gabriel?
Boy, that's a tough one.
Because I know we think, you said you think that Gabriel didn't want to kill Lucifer, but do you think Lucifer on the other side wanted to kill Gabriel?
I don't think he really wanted to. Well, especially at the end, my gosh. I mean, when you see him and he's got that look on his, and he's got the tears. I mean, he just killed his little brother. But it's interesting with Lucifer, because part of me wonders if his ego interferes with his logic and his thinking, and he doesn't really realize what he's done until he's done it.
Yeah.
All he knows is, I've got to stop. I've got to stop this from happening. The apocalypse has got to go on. This fight has to happen. You know what I mean? He just wasn't thinking. And then when he does kill Gabriel, and he's seeing him actually lying there on the ground. Oh God, I hate that scene. Lying on the ground with with the charred wings and everything, and he's like, oh my gosh, I really did it. I killed him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because Lucifer's got an ego. He does, absolutely, has that ego. But no, I don't think he really wanted to kill Gabriel, but then he had no choice, at that point. So, again, anybody can argue that, that's fine. But based on how that ends with Lucifer, with the tears in his eyes and the regret, and even, I believe, Richard asked Mark if there was regret of what Lucifer did, and Mark said yes.
That would see that, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And in some of the role plays where, I have a Lucifer, um, Gabriel has actually said to Lucifer, I forgive you for killing me. Because if anything, Gabriel feels like when he was in purgatory, he changed. He became this more caring, supportive archangel who now wants to help the humans. He wasn't like that before. So he did say, I forgive you. However, he does not forgive him for killing his pagan family. He will never forgive him for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, never. But it's his brother, and he does try and talk to him and say, I understand in a way why you feel the way you do, because of what the humans are doing to the planet or whatever, but, man, you don't have to kill them all. Just because somebody does something wrong, does that give you the right to kill, the whole race? I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's a good question about Lucifer, though. But yeah, I don't think he really wanted to do it. I think it was just, it happened all too fast.
Well, it was also one of those, he was defending himself
Oh yeah.
at the same time, so it was the heat of the moment thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he was fine, and then all of a sudden there's Gabriel, doing his little illusion thingy right behind him. What was he gonna do?
Yep.
When you gotta defend yourself, yeah, that's what you gotta do. And again with Lucifer, even in that scene, you can tell that he's kind of looking at Gabriel like, "What are you? Why did you take their side? I'm your brother. Why are you taking the human side? What the hell?" I mean, that's kind of how I see Lucifer too. He's like, "Wait a minute, man, you're supposed to be on my side."
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of how I would see it. In my opinion, and be like, "Why are you taking their side? I was sent to hell. I am the way I am because of them." But then again, Gabriel would say like, "Well, you made the choice," and go back to all that again. But
Lucifer would be expecting the loyalty, and well, Lucifer expects loyalty from everybody.
yes.
But yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's strange how I just like think about these things or whatever.
Yeah, but it brings a fresh, view on everything.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's willing to totally step outside the box and even go off the deep end when it comes to some of these topics. So it's nice,
Yeah.
to get a brand new view on it.
Well, I also, at the time read some interviews with Richard and kind of went with that too to see what his take, on it was. Like I remember he said that he could see Gabriel trying to fit in with the pagans, and having to like drink blood and things like that. And of course Gabriel would be like, ugh. But he knew that if he didn't do it, they would find out what he was, and then he'd be dead.
Yeah.
So I read little things like that Richard would talk about the character. I would actually love to sit down with Richard and have a one-on-one about Gabriel, just to compare notes and see how close we are.
Now that would definitely be awesome.
Yes, definitely.
Cool. So hey, how long? Well, first actually, what did you get into first, cosplaying or RPing?
Actually, at first I got what was into RPing online, and people laughed. But the first character I ever did was Dean.
Was who?
Dean.
Dean. Oh.
Yes, Dean. I know, and I always get laughed at for that. I'm like, no, it was Dean. And then I did Castiel, which again is the complete opposite of Gabriel.
Those are so hard for me to imagine you playing because, I mean, I'm so used to you playing Gabriel that I just wouldn't think that you'd be playing like a Dean or a Cass.
Yeah, I did. And then I was in this one role-playing group, and I thought, you know what, I want to give Gabriel a shot. So I went and rewatched a couple episodes or whatever, and did this one post, and they were like, wow. They're like, I could actually visualize that scene. It was like I had him doing a I Dream of Jeannie bit where he was like, going around doing the thing with his hands or whatever and snapping his fingers. Like, oh my God, I could totally see him doing that. So then it just Gabriel just kind of, stuck on me or whatever. And, that's who I, role play now. Dean, I laugh. I'm like, I still can't believe I did Dean, but yeah, I did. And that's how I, met some people or whatever. Yeah, cosplaying, that was the first time I did it, nobody would interact with me. I mean, nobody. It was a horrible experience, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not, cut out to do this. But when I went to DC, actually, that was where I first did my Casa Erotica Gabe cosplay at. I was very nervous. Oh, you have no idea how nervous I was. And I was like, okay, you know what? I know this character. I'm just gonna, you know, get out there and do it. And the fans loved it. I mean, I was getting stopped all the time to get my photo taken. uh, and they were just like, wow, it's like Casa Erotica Gabe in the flesh. And the funny thing is from the back, everybody thought I was Richard. I had people saying that they thought I was Richard. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, from a distance, you look like Richard. And then when that one morning when we were on stage together, people were confused as to who was who. It was awesome. I mean, it was like, okay, but I loved it because there were some fans that were new, and I would just talk with them, about things like, maybe about the fandom or about the show or whatever. And they were like, you know what? Thank you so much. You just made my con experience a lot better. And that's why I like cosplaying, because that's what I do. I interact with the fans, and they love it. They think they're actually talking to Gabriel, and I'm like, wow, really?
Well, that's like, I've only done one minimal cosplay. I cosplayed Dean for VisionCon this past February here in Branson, and I mean, I didn't really have a chance to really get into the character like I wanted to, simply because it was more of a nerdy geek fest of other fandoms. So you saw very few Supernatural cosplayers there. But one of the joys of being able to cosplay is that you do have that opportunity to delve into that character that you connect with so much, and in some ways become that character. And then,
Yes.
other people can have a chance to interact with that character, which is really cool too.
Yes, absolutely. Because like I said, I try and intermingle with the fans. Instead of just, now some cosplayers don't. Some, they just dress up and that's it, and that's fine. If you want to do that. But I'm the one that likes to actually get involved with with the fans or whatever, and even some of the actors. Oh my gosh, I gotta say this one, Casa Erotica Gabe in Toronto last year. To make a long story short, I missed out on my Mark Shepard photo op. I was not happy about it, but anyway, I had the costume contest coming up, so I had to go up and change into that during Mark Shepard's panel. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? Do I walk in? Because I know darn well I'm going to stick out like a sore thumb. So I'm like, okay. So anyway, I said, okay, I'm going to do this. So I walk in to the front row. There's Mark Shepard looking at me. I'm like, oh no, what do I do? I'm like, okay, I can do one of two things. Either I can turn the other way, or I can look at him and wave. So I chose to wave at him. And he walks up to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. And he goes, that is the scariest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. He says, you should go home with Richard Spade Jr. And I just about died. I mean, I'm like trying to hold it together, in the front row, but I'm like, I was just heckled in a way by Mark Shepard, and I was the happiest thing ever for me.
I bet.
I mean, he heckled me a little bit, but it was also a praise for my cosplay.
Yeah, that's definitely a compliment.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, even the actors, sometimes get involved with the cosplayers, which I love. And when I was Casa Erotica Gabe actually at DC Con, Richard told me before I left, he's like, amazing cosplay, just gonna tell you. He's like, that is just amazing. I'm like, thank you. Because when you get it from the person that you're cosplaying, that's just a wonderful compliment. And when I met Ruth Connell, who was at Midwest Media Expo up here in Detroit. That was her first con, which I'm so privileged that we were her first con. That was just amazing. She was there, and we were doing a Supernatural trivia panel. So I was dressed as Gabriel, and we had Sam and Dean, and that was a lot of fun. Again, I was mingling with the crowd, and I actually made a joke, and people laughed at it. I'm like, oh, yay! So anyway, when she snuck in, I was in the back, and then I looked at the front, and I'm like, is that Ruth? No, it can't be. So I went back to doing my thing again, and then I looked again. That's Ruth Connell. So I'm in character as Gabriel without even thinking twice. I go up, and she was sitting in the front, and I go up and I bowed to her. I got down on my knees and I started bowing to her, and I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? So, again, I was in character. It's Gabriel, so that was why I did it. So anyway, I was really worried that I had scared her because I'm like, that was really stupid, because I just, like, again, I wasn't thinking, and so anyway, her last panel that weekend that she was there, she said, there's one particular person in the audience that gave me my first impression of the fandom. And I'm like, okay. And she's looking around, and she looks at me, and she points, you. I'm like, me? And she's like, yes. And I'm thinking, oh God, this is bad. I said, I just want to let you know that I thought you were going to be scared, and I didn't mean to do it. She goes, no, it's a good thing. She said, when you got down on your hands and knees and worshipped me, that was the most wonderful thing to her. She said, I knew that, that this fandom was going to be amazing. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I was her first impression. And here I thought I had screwed up.
And that's quite the honor.
Oh, it was. I mean, everybody actually applauded in the room at the con that we were at. And I'm just like, wow, I am just, absolutely floored. And, and I asked her if she met Richard, and she's like, oh, yes, I met Richard. He's very nice and everything like that. And, she loved our little cosplay group that we had. We had lots of pictures that were taken with her for free, I might add. Thank you. And she was just like, thank you so much for making my first con, so amazing. So I cannot wait until all the fans out there meet her. She is just amazing. Very funny, very, very bubbly. She was kind of shy a little bit at first, but we kind of got her out of her shell as the weekend went on. But yeah, she crashed our panel. She said that she was at her autographs and nobody was there because they were all at our panel. Thank you very much, Midwest. But anyway, her handler was like, well, there's a trivia thing going on. Do you want to go there? And she's like, yeah, let's go. So her handler, who was amazing, I mean, that girl, I gave her a big hug. And I'm like, thank you so much for bringing her down to our panel. You have no idea what that meant to us. Because she signed some amulets that we had for prizes and things. Ruth went out of her way to make the fans happy at Midwest. It was just absolutely amazing. And we did get some fans that came to her to get autographs and things. And it was just, yeah. It was absolutely amazing. And then now another quick cosplay story is Robbie Thompson, who, as we know, is a writer on the show. Oh, I love Robbie so much. He was at Chicago. They had a salute to a Supernatural thing up there, and it was like a whole bunch of lectures and academic type stuff. Amazing. I mean, seriously, it was just amazing. Well, I went for Robbie, of course, because he doesn't do cons, So anyway, he's up there and giving a wonderful panel, and I'm in my Casaraka Gabe, and I'm like, okay, this is my shot. Do I want to do this, or am I going to chicken out? Because I was like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to bow to him, because he brought Gabriel back. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? What do I do? So I'm sitting there shaking this whole time, trying to figure out. Finally, I raised my hand, and I looked at him. I said, okay, I'm not going to like hug you or nothing, so don't freak out. And he kind of looked at me like, okay. So then I go up and I bowed to him. I said, thank you for bringing Gabriel back. And he just laughed. He just sat there and just laughed so hard. And then he's like, what's your name? And then I said, I'm Dana. He says, I want to give you a hug. So he hugged me or whatever, and he just thought that was just the coolest thing ever. So then when he would see me and he would talk about Gabriel or Richard, he kept pointing to me the whole time. And I thought that was just really cool that, he associated me with that. And I got my photo taken with him in my cosplay, and, talked to him a little bit. And he signed my program that I had or whatever. Just amazing. Well, then when he came back to Motor City Comic Con, which, of course, I had to go back, he was, my friend Veronica, who had been with me in Chicago, was there. And he's like, oh, hey, I remember I saw you last weekend. He's like, where's Gabe? There I was sitting there, this time in the Metafiction Gabe cosplay that I had. And he was just like, oh, there he is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So now when he sees me, he calls me Gabe.
Oh, cool.
It is just so cool. And he just, he just thinks that Richard and him, I guess, were best buds since like childhood. So for him, bringing back Gabriel was like at the top of his list. And he did say that the Gabriel episodes were the very first ones of Supernatural that he ever saw.
Wow.
Yeah. But Robbie is amazing. I really hope that he can, go to some of the cons, but he's very shy, believe it or not, very shy, and he doesn't like large crowds. But he is an amazing person, just talking about the show. He loves the show so much, the writers, the actors. He talked about Jared and Jensen, how amazing they are to work with and everything like that. So I really hope the fans can meet him, because boy, he is a gem. He really is.
Well, also with the cosplay, that just comes to show how much the actors and the crew members appreciate the effort that we all put into our
Yes.
cosplaying.
Oh yeah, I mean, I know some of the actors are still like, wow, I can't believe you actually dress up like this. You actually want to be my character. It's like, yeah,
Yes, we do.
yeah, absolutely. And I have seen so many good cosplays out there. I think my favorite still had to be the one that dressed up as the Chrysler Building for Castiel. That was creativity.
Now, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, that was at DC Con for the costume contest, I remember. And actually, that one won
Oh.
for the Castiel. Someone had these big wings, and I'm just like, yeah, the wings are nice and everything like that, but when you see somebody that actually took that concept of the Chrysler Building for Castiel, I mean, that's creativity.
And that takes a lot of work to get that done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I actually love looking at the different cosplays, and I entered a couple of the costume contests with Cast Erotica Gabe, and I had Cast Erotica Girl, and we entertained the crowd. They were playing Loud and Swain, bless their hearts, was playing almost like pornish type music, and we're up there dancing and doing these sexy moves. The crowd loved it. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is the shy little person from back in Meeting Richard. It's like, no, I'm not shy anymore.
Thank God for Richard, then.
Yeah, oh yeah, the man changed my life. I can't say that enough. He changed my life. I will always be grateful to that man.
That's
Absolutely.
really cool.
But yes, the cosplayers, I do love looking at the different ones. There are some really creative ones out there, and there are some where I just am like, wow, that's Dean. Holy crap! I mean, that's Dean's twin. And it's really neat because the cosplaying is not just at the Supernatural cons; it's at every con.
Now it is, yeah.
Oh yeah, Motor City Comic Con. There were Supernatural cosplayers. In Chicago there was the ones there for the Supernatural thing. But there was, what other con did I go to? It was in Lansing. I can't remember. Sorry. But there were Supernatural players there too, Doctor Who and everybody else. But yeah, they're at every con now. You can at least see one Castiel. I jokingly say.
Yeah, at VisionCon, I mean, I went as Dean and my friend went as Sam, and then we saw, I think, a Castiel and a Crowley, and gosh, I think there might have been one other angel, but I mean, it was really cool, especially now to see that so many people are breaking out into the Supernatural cosplay and that they are appearing at more locations.
Yeah.
So it's
cool. That's what I tell people. Is that if you want to dress up in cosplay, it doesn't have to be at a creation Supernatural con. It can be any con. Yeah. Trust me, they'll know. If you do the right character, if you're Sam, Dean, Cass, Crowley, the main ones, they'll know. Now Gabriel, maybe not so much. I got lucky at a couple that they did know who I was, but if you do a main one especially, they'll know.
Yeah.
And people, I mean, when we went to Motor City Comic Con last year, we had Gabriel and Ruby. And when we were getting in line, I remember the fans, they pointed and said, "It's the Trickster!" And you feel like a little celeb at that point.
You're like,
it's like
ego boost there.
It's like, yeah, I'm the Trickster. Oh, yeah, I know. So it's kind of nice, too. And that's the thing about cosplaying is, if you want to, step outside, your comfy zone a little bit and cosplay, and not realize, if you're shy or whatever, you might come out of that shell a little bit when people go up and say, "Hey, you're Dean." And you're like, wow, yeah, I am. And it's just like you just get that little bit of recognition, and that makes you feel really good. And that's what I like about cosplaying. I think that brings out some of the more shy fans. Or maybe they dress up and they don't realize that they look like a character, like if they're just wearing plaid or whatever. And then they're like, wow, I didn't think I was dressed up, but I guess I am.
Yeah, and it does give the opportunity for the people who are shy to kind of step out of their shy box for a while, yeah, they might still be shy, but then they can take on this whole new persona that gives them a chance to be something else and
Yes.
not be as shy. And yeah, when they take the whole costume or whatever off, yeah, they might be right back to where they were before. But at least
Uh-huh.
for that bit in time, they have the opportunity to be something different and not
Yeah.
be what they were.
Yeah, I mean, I would go up and say, "Can I get my photo with you?" For some of these cosplayers, and they look at me like, "You want a photo with me?" Yeah, why not? And they'd be like, "Yeah, yeah." I mean, because when we at Midwest Media, we had an Abaddon. There's an example, an Abaddon who was shy. And I could tell that she was. And I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. So I walked up to her, and this was Casserotica Gabe. Yep, Casserotica Gabe. And I said, "Hey, Abaddon was shaken." And she's like, "Oh, no, not too much." And I was like, "Can I get my photo taken with you?" She just looked at me. She's like, "You want my photo taken? You want me?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go sit on the couch and get our photo taken." Okay. So we just sat on the couch, and I did this little sexy pose with her or whatever, and she got her picture taken, and she got out of her shell.
And
Then
that's
she started
cool.
taking photos with everybody else.
And it does, you have that opportunity also to help people get more into their cosplay that way and
Yep.
realize that, to get them more comfortable with what they're doing. And it does help them in the long run.
Oh yeah, I mean, I could just tell that she was shy, and I thought, okay, I got this. And then, like I said, after that, she was doing photos with Dean and Sam and Crowley, and it was just amazing. I'm like, I felt so good that I helped her with that, because yeah, she was happy. She was very happy.
So, what would you say, out of all the cosplaying you've done, what would be your most favorite?
Oh boy, I'm gonna have to say Casa Erotica Gabe, because just I think that's the one I've had the most experience with. And especially when you're at a supernatural con, that's when they know who you are, and they just, they just really love that. And of course, that's the one that Richard has seen me in as well. So I guess that's why it's, high up there. But I act sexy or whatever, and they just love it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I wish I could get is I wish I could get a room service tray, but I haven't been able to do that part yet. And like the only thing is I don't want to have to carry that around the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that I'm like, well, that would add to it, but man, that's a prop you got to carry, and that would probably be, a pain. But yeah, especially like it when the chicks want to pose with Casseronica Gabe, because I'm in character. You know, I'm like, I'll put my arms around your whatever. It's fine. I'm in character, so. I mean, in real life, I've got I've got my own Casa Erotica girl, Nikki. I told you I'd do it, Nikki. She is the head of Winchester Daily. Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm hitting that.
Oh yeah, we're affiliates with them.
I had to do it. I told her I'd do it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing it. So but when you're cosplaying, you're just you're in character. It's just like acting on the stage. If you have to do a kissing scene or whatever, you're just playing a character. So and that's how I am with Casa Erotica Games. Like, okay, yeah, I'll hold your hand or whatever and stuff like that, but that's just my character. That's not me. So if you're looking for more than that, don't think so. But I haven't really had that problem, so I guess I've gotten lucky on that.
That's
But
good.
yeah.
Cool. Well, hey, you know what? This has been a really great conversation,
Yeah,
and
absolutely. I gotta admit I was a little nervous at first, but once we started, I was good.
definitely couldn't tell that you're nervous at all.
Yay!
But I've actually really enjoyed being able to talk and learn a little bit more on your take on things and learn a little bit more about you when it comes to
Yeah.
Richard and Gabriel and all that. So I mean, I would love to have you co-host again sometime if you're interested.
Oh yes, absolutely. And like I said, Richard, he is my hero. The video that we did was called Unsung Hero,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that really fit Richard, because that's pretty much what he is at the cons. I mean, not as much as he used to be. I think that it's gotten better. But yeah, he does so much for the cons, and he's just such an amazing person. He would give you the shirt off his back if he could. He's just amazing. So
Now,
yeah.
is that video on YouTube anywhere or?
Yeah, I think it is, but I don't know what the link is.
Okay.
Crap. Um, I know it was called Unsung Hero. That's all I know. But I don't know what the actual link is.
Okay.
But it was an amazing. I mean, Project Fate was just so amazing because of the people that came together, and because we had so many people that would tell us, "You're not going to have time to get it done." And I thought, you know what, the heck with you, because Richard had just had that thing happen, unfortunately, in Vegas, where he got blamed for Ty being drunk and all that stuff. So he had gotten just over that crap, and that's why DC Con was so important, because he needed to to know that we love you, Richard. We know, that wasn't true or whatever, and that without the cons would be boring without Richard. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they would.
you know, um, and so that's why we came up with, Unsung Hero, the title. And, I wish I could remember the lyrics right now, but I can't, because we, just basically said that the cons aren't the same without him. I mean, my favorite was, he wears a pair of aviators and red gym shorts or something like that. We had to have that in there because he was a great Dean in that. Oh my gosh, that was like my favorite outfit he wore for karaoke, was the Dean gym outfit. That was awesome.
Well, if you ever find the video, be sure to post it on Supernaturalaholics Anonymous so
Yes.
other people can see it. I'd love to see it.
Yes, absolutely. I do have it. I just don't remember, like I said, what the what the link is or whatever. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Cool. Well, do you have any announcements about, I mean, what you're up to as far as cosplaying going, or just anything else you want to say?
Well, I'm going to be going to Jersey Con
Cool.
in September with my girl Nikki. I'm looking forward to that because I just love going to cons in general. I'll probably be doing some cosplaying there, probably with Casa Erotica Gabe and my regular Gabriel cosplay. Of course, I can't wait to see Richard. He just always makes me smile. And unfortunately, that's all I've got right now. I just want to say too that Kings of Con, oh my gosh, that is going to be amazing. I cannot wait until they get those episodes started. And again, the fandom came together for that. It was amazing.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
Yes, definitely. I said that those two needed a sitcom. Rob and Richard are just amazing together. I can't say that enough. That those two are just, you'd swear they were brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, it's amazing. So yeah, and I got the autographed boxers for the Kings of Con. I was in a karaoke contest and I got second place, and that was what I used my money for. So I gave my my little bit, but yeah, I cannot wait to see the Kings of Con. And kudos to the Supernatural fandom for coming through for that, because I don't think they expected to get what they got for that.
Yeah,
year.
major kudos.
Yes, definitely. So yeah, that's all I can think of on my end at the moment. But yeah, Jersey, September, yay!
Cool. Well, hey, have fun going to Jersey Con. It should be great.
Yep.
And thanks again for co-hosting with me today, and I'll be sure to have you back on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, well, we're about out of time today, so just a big announcement. We have finally hit our first, well, actually, I think we broke the 1,000-member mark on Supernaturalaholics Anonymous on the Facebook group, so that's pretty exciting.
Hells yeah!
Yeah, we are steadily growing, and we appreciate everybody's support, so be sure to invite everybody out there, your supernatural friends, family members, all of that, and keep this group growing, because it's a great place to be. We're anti-bullying, anti-drama, and all of that. So I mean, we just want everybody to have a great place that's a family environment to come and hang out. So
absolutely.
And you're a member of the group too, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah.
All right, guys, well, we have fun today, and I hope you enjoyed the show, and we will be back again next week. Not sure who's co-hosting with me, but I'll have somebody. So until next time, keep it real, and always keep fighting, Supernaturalaholics.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when